The vastness of space stretched endlessly before the stars, cold and silent except for the faint hum of distant engines. Somewhere deep in the void, a massive fleet of alien warships moved with deliberate purpose, their hulls gleaming with the dark sheen of advanced armor. These were not ordinary ships. Each vessel was a fortress, thick, layered, and built to withstand the deadliest attacks. Their appearance alone could strike fear into any civilization that faced them. The commanders of this fleet, part of the Galactic Coalition, had grown confident in their power over the years. They had crushed every enemy with ease. No one could match their technology or their sheer numbers. No one, they believed, except perhaps the humans, who they had long dismissed as primitive and weak. The flagship, a towering ship known as the Imperator, led the fleet through the outer edges of human-controlled space. Its massive armor plates glinted faintly against the distant suns, each layer designed to absorb and deflect the most powerful weapons the galaxy had to offer. On board the Imperator, Commander Vrax, a tall, cold-eyed alien with mottled blue skin, stood on the bridge watching the star maps flicker on his display. His three eyes narrowed as he studied the human system ahead. His lips curled into a mocking smile. "Humans," he said in a low, rasping voice, "are nothing more than cave-dwellers hiding behind old technology and hope. Their defenses are weak, their weapons primitive. This mission will be simple. We will break their lines and take what we want." His officers nodded in agreement, sharing the same confidence. They had seen the reports. The humans had no ships capable of facing the Coalition's might. Their railguns and laser systems were old, outdated compared to the energy shields and plasma cannons of the Coalition. It was almost laughable, but far away on the other side of the system, hidden within a cloud of space debris, a small human scout ship drifted silently. The Sentinel was far from the largest or the most powerful of the Earth defense fleet, but its sensors were sharp and its crew was vigilant. Captain Rachel Hayes sat calmly in the pilot's chair, her gaze fixed on the approaching alien fleet. Her heart pounded quietly. This was the moment they had feared for decades, the moment the alien fleet they had only heard of. And stories had finally arrived at Earth's doorstep. "Commander, the alien fleet is entering our outer system," her communications officer reported. Voice tense but steady. "Estimated arrival at defense perimeter in 15 minutes. Rachel nodded. She knew what that meant. Earth's defense forces had prepared for this day, but this was the first real test. Years of training, technology development, and silent prayers all came down to this moment. "Alert all stations," she ordered. "Prepare the railgun batteries. This fight will be unlike any other." Below the command decks of the Imperator, the Coalition officers laughed and mocked the human preparations. "Those railguns?" One scoffed. "You might as well be firing rocks. Our armor will shrug them off like rain." But back on Earth, the scientists and engineers who had built those railguns knew something the aliens did not. They had spent years perfecting a weapon that combined electromagnetic acceleration with advanced targeting systems, able to punch holes through the toughest armor faster than any missile or laser. This was humanity's secret weapon. Quiet, precise, and deadly. The alien ships crossed the boundary into human space. Tension rippled through the fleet. Sensors picked up faint signatures of the human defenses activating. The Imperator gave the order to advance. The Coalition fleet moved forward with a deadly grace, confident and unafraid. But the humans were ready. Suddenly, the silence of space shattered as beams of charged metal slugs. Railgun projectiles sliced through the void at unimaginable speed. The first shot struck the lead alien cruiser, punching a glowing hole through its thick armor as if it were paper. Alarms blared. The ship shuddered violently, systems failing. The aliens stared in disbelief. Their ships, which had never been damaged so easily, were breaking apart under the assault of these strange, primitive weapons. The Imperator itself rocked from a second shot. The heavy armor that was their pride was failing. The Coalition commanders shouted orders, trying to coordinate a defense, but the damage spread quickly. The humans fired again and again. Each railgun blast tore through the alien ships, ripping apart engines, weapons, and life support systems. The aliens scrambled, sending fighter squadrons to try to stop the human ships, but the humans had prepared for this too. Their own fighters moved fast and hard, protecting the railgun platforms. From the Sentinel, Captain Hayes watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. This was no longer a simple skirmish. This was a message. Humanity was not the weak species. They thought it was in the heat of battle. The Imperator sent a warning signal to its fleet, ordering a retreat, but the humans were relentless. The alien ships, now crippled, tried to regroup, but the damage was done. The Coalition fleet was forced to pull back, their confidence shattered. Back on Earth, as the news of the battle reached the global command centers, leaders breathed a collective sigh of relief mixed with determination. This was only the beginning. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's strength was far greater than anyone imagined. Far away in the shadows of space, in hidden labs and secret bases, humans worked tirelessly to improve their railgun technology. They knew the aliens would return, stronger and more determined. But now, they had the advantage of surprise, and the will to protect their home at any cost. Commander Vrax and his officers, once so sure of victory, sat in stunned silence on the Imperator. The lesson was clear. Never underestimate the humans. Their ships might be smaller, their numbers fewer, but their technology and spirit could tear through the mightiest armor. The war for the galaxy was just beginning. Humanity was ready to fight. The vast dark space around the human system was alive with tension. The alien fleet, once so confident, was now moving cautiously. Their heavy warships, which had seemed invincible just moments ago, were bleeding damage. The Imperators shattered. Armor plates floated away like silent ghosts in the void, evidence of the devastating power humans wielded. Commander Vrax stood rigid on the bridge, his three eyes flicking rapidly between the damage reports and the star maps. Every new hit from the human railguns tore through the alien ships as if they were made of glass. It was a nightmare unfolding before his eyes. Behind him, his officers scrambled to respond. Captain Shields at 20%. Another ship lost. "Propulsion!" one yelled. Another cried out, "They hit the Argus! The cruiser is breaking apart!" The Argus was one of the pride ships of the Coalition, built to endure hundreds of hits and still fight on. But now, with gaping holes burning through its hull, it was a sinking wreck. The realization hit the alien fleet hard. Their ships were vulnerable. Their ancient armor was useless against these railguns. On the human side, the Earth defense fleet was growing stronger with every shot. The railgun platforms, mounted on sleek frigates and massive space stations, fired in deadly precision. Electromagnetic projectile moved with impossible speed, striking alien hulls before their shields could react. The silence of space was shattered by explosions lighting up the darkness like fireworks. Ships exploded in brilliant bursts of fire and metal, while others sent out desperate signals begging for retreat. "Captain." Rachel Hayes of the Sentinel felt a cold thrill run through her veins. She gripped the controls tightly as she directed, her ship closer to the battle. The railgun strikes were precise, but they needed to press the advantage. "Target the nearest cruiser," she ordered her weapons officer. "Let's show them humans don't give up so easily." Her crew moved with practiced efficiency, locking on to the alien ships that were trying to repair their shields. But the aliens were not defeated yet. Desperation sparked in their ranks, and their response grew more aggressive. Swarms of fighter craft poured out of their carriers, their sleek designs meant to overwhelm enemies with speed and numbers. They darted toward the human railgun ships, firing rapid laser blasts meant to disable the weapons before another shot could fire. Explosions rocked several human frigates as fighters punched through defenses. Despite this, the humans kept firing. Railgun shots continued to tear through alien shields and armor with terrifying efficiency. Each strike was a message, a warning to the galaxy that Earth was not to be trifled with. Engineers on the human ships worked frantically to keep the railguns firing, swapping out damaged components in zero gravity, fueled by the knowledge that every shot counted. Meanwhile, on the bridge of the Imperator, Commander Vrax's face grew, darker with every report. The aliens had never encountered such power. Their technology had always been the best, but now they were outmatched in an unexpected way. Prepare the plasma cannons. Focus fire on the railgun platforms, he barked. The order was urgent. If they could take out the human weapons, they might turn the tide. But the humans had anticipated this move. Their escort fighters formed tight defensive rings around the railgun frigates, repelling attacks with precision and fierce determination. The battle turned brutal. In the cold blackness of space, ship met ship with deadly fury. The aliens' plasma blasts illuminated the void in flashes of green and purple, while human railgun shots struck like thunderbolts. The noise inside the ships was deafening. Alarms blared, metal groaned, and crew members shouted orders over the chaos. Amidst the violence, a quiet moment stood out. On the Imperator, Commander Vrax stared at the tactical displays. They were losing ships faster than expected. The humans' railgun strikes weren't just powerful, they were fast, accurate, and relentless. He realized that underestimating humanity had been the greatest mistake of his career. Signal the fleet. Fall back to the outer systems for now, he ordered. The fleet began to pull away, damaged but not destroyed. But the humans did not give chase. They held their ground, their railguns still aimed and ready. Captain Hayes knew better than to let the aliens regroup. Maintain formation, she said quietly. They'll be back, and we need to be ready. The battle had been a warning shot, brutal and clear, far from the front lines. In Earth's hidden military bases, scientists studied the damage reports with grim faces. The railguns had performed beyond expectations, but the aliens' power was far from broken. Engineers hurried to upgrade the weapons, increase their firing speed, and improve defenses. They knew the next attack would be even fiercer. The humans had stunned the galaxy, breaking through armor once thought impenetrable. But this victory was just the start of a longer war, one that would push both sides to their limits. Somewhere in the stars, other species watched carefully, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Earth had announced itself as a new force, and no one could ignore it anymore. The galaxy was changing. The humans had broken the first line of defense. Now, the real battle for survival had begun. Far away from the chaos of battle beneath the surface of Earth, in hidden underground facilities, a different kind of war was being fought. This was not a war of ships or weapons in space, but a battle of minds, scientists and engineers racing against time to perfect the technology that had stunned the galaxy. The railguns, simple in concept but deadly in effect, were the result of years of relentless research, passion, and a refusal to be beaten. Inside a large, brightly lit lab filled with humming machines and glowing screens, Dr. Alina Park adjusted her glasses as she reviewed the latest test data. She was one of the leading engineers behind the Railgun project, a weapon that fired metal projectiles at speeds so high they could slice through the thickest armor like paper. The technology wasn't new. Electromagnetic acceleration had been studied for decades, but humanity had pushed it to a new level, combining it with advanced targeting systems and powerful energy sources to create something truly deadly. We've increased the firing rate by 20%, Alina said to her team, excitement clear in her voice. And the new magnetic coils are holding up under higher energy loads. This means our railguns can fire faster, stronger, and more accurately. Her team nodded, energized by the progress. Each improvement was a step closer to ensuring humanity's survival in the brutal war ahead. Elsewhere, in the command centers where military leaders gathered around massive holographic displays. The significance of this technology was made clear. General Marcus Steele, a man hardened by decades of war, stood before his officers, his voice steady and commanding. The railguns have changed the battlefield, he said. The coalition's armor is no longer invincible. This gives us an advantage that no one expected. But General, one officer asked, can we sustain this level of firepower? The aliens will come back stronger. Steele's eyes hardened. We have to be ready. That's why every engineer, every scientist, and every soldier is working, day and night. This weapon is our shield, our sword. Without it, Earth is lost. Back on the battlefield, the humans' railgun strikes had become the stuff of legends. Stories spread through the ranks of the Coalition fleet about the terrifying speed and power of these weapons. Where once the aliens had laughed at humans' supposed primitiveness, now they whispered in fear. Their once unbreakable defenses had been shattered. The railguns were not just weapons. They were symbols of human determination and innovation. In the face of overwhelming odds, humanity refused to bow. Their engineers found ways to use common metals and refined energy sources to create projectiles that could travel faster than any missile and hit with the force of a small explosion. These metal slugs ripped through enemy shields and armor with precision, unlike anything the galaxy had seen. But the secret to the railgun's success was not just technology. It was the people behind it. Men and women who believed that Earth was worth fighting for. Their long hours, sleepless nights, and endless testing had created a weapon that was equal parts science and spirit. As the alien fleet regrouped in the dark reaches of space, Commander, Vrax knew that this human technology was unlike anything they had prepared for. They had planned to overwhelm Earth with brute force, but they had met an enemy who fought with both brains and courage. The war had become personal. Humanity's secret weapon was no longer a mystery to the galaxy. It was a warning: underestimate us, and you will pay the price. Darkness hung heavy over the shattered remnants of the Coalition fleet as the surviving alien ships drifted toward the distant edges of the human system. The silence was broken only by the soft hum of damaged engines and the occasional crackle of emergency communications. Commander Vrax stood on the bridge of the Imperator, his posture rigid but his mind racing. The battle had not gone as planned. His fleet, once proud and invincible, was now fractured and wounded. The alien commanders gathered in a tense meeting below deck, faces twisted with frustration and disbelief. "We underestimated them," one growled. "Our armor means nothing to their railguns. We cannot hold this fight. But if we retreat," another argued, "they will see weakness. Earth's defenses will grow stronger. Our reputation will be shattered." Vrax listened silently, his three eyes scanning the room. He felt the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. The choice was brutal: press forward and risk total destruction, or retreat and live to fight another day. The alien pride clashed with cold strategy. "We must be careful," Vrax finally said. "The humans are stronger than we expected, but we are not defeated." Back on Earth, the Defense Command watched the alien fleet's movements with wary eyes. The humans knew this was only a pause, not an end. Their railgun frigates remained on high alert, ready for the next strike. Captain Rachel Hayes and her crew stood by, tense but determined. "They're trying to recover," she said quietly. "We have to be ready for whatever comes next." Suddenly, alien fighters launched a desperate assault. From hidden carriers, swarms poured out, their numbers overwhelming. The humans' defenses were tested to their limits. Explosions erupted as fighters clashed with human interceptors in fierce dogfights. The railgun platforms fired with deadly precision, but the aliens pushed hard, trying to break the line. The battle was brutal. Each side fought with everything they had. The aliens' plasma cannons roared, lighting the darkness with deadly bursts, while human railguns cracked like thunder, tearing through enemy hulls. Both fleets paid a heavy price. In the chaos, Vrax made a bold decision. "Fall back to the asteroid belt. Use the debris for cover. We regroup and repair." His officers nodded grimly. They understood the gamble. Safety now, strength later. But the humans were not fooled. They launched targeted strikes on retreating ships, forcing the aliens to fight even as they pulled away. Captain Hayes ordered relentless pressure. "We'll keep them on the run. We can't let them rest." As the alien fleet disappeared into the shadows of the asteroid belt, questions hung in the void. Could they rebuild? Would they return stronger? And what new weapons might humanity unleash next? The galaxy held its breath. The war was far from over, but one thing was certain: the humans had shown they would not back down. Their railguns had torn through armor once thought unbreakable, and their spirit burned brighter than any star. The coming days would test both sides in ways no one could predict. The battle for survival was only beginning. The cold void of space was once again alive with movement. The alien fleet, battered but not broken, had retreated to the asteroid belt as Commander Vrax had ordered. There, hidden among the floating rocks and debris, the coalition ships attempted repairs. But even in this temporary refuge, the tension was unbearable. Every commander knew the humans would not wait. They would strike again, harder, faster, and with more force. On Earth, the command centers were alive with energy and urgency. The scientists worked side by side with military strategists, pushing their railgun technology to new limits. Ships were refitted with the latest weapons and armored with reinforced shields. Elite Space Marine units trained relentlessly, preparing to board enemy ships if necessary. The message was clear: this fight would not be won by defense alone. Humanity was going on the offensive. Captain Rachel Hayes stood on the bridge of the flagship Sentinel, her eyes locked on the battle map. Her crew moved swiftly around her, every system ready for war. "This is it," she said quietly. "We hit them now, and we hit them hard. No mercy." The human fleet surged forward, leaving the safety of their home system. As they entered the asteroid belt, the debris became a deadly maze. But the humans had planned for this. Their ships were equipped with advanced navigation systems and sensor arrays designed to pierce the confusion. They moved with precision, coordinated like a well-oiled machine. Suddenly, the alien fleet emerged from cover, weapons blazing. The space around them erupted in a deadly storm of plasma bolts and railgun fire. Explosions bloomed in the blackness like deadly flowers, lighting up the battlefield with fiery bursts. The aliens fought with desperation and fury, but the humans were relentless. The railguns sang their deadly song, each shot tearing through alien armor and shields. Ships once thought invincible now burned and broke apart under the concentrated fire. The humans' firepower was unmatched, a devastating combination of technology and determination. Amid the chaos, elite human space marines launched boarding operations. Massive drop pods shot from the human ships like meteorites, striking alien vessels and breaching their hulls. Fierce hand-to-hand combat erupted inside the corridors and engine rooms. Humans fought with fierce courage and brutal efficiency. Alien soldiers, though trained and deadly, were caught off guard by the ferocity and resolve of their opponents. On the bridge of the Imperator, Commander Vrax struggled to keep control. His fleet was collapsing under the human assault. Communications went dark on multiple channels. The proud coalition was being pushed to the edge of destruction. "We must retreat," what officer shouted. "We cannot hold." Vrax shook his head, his voice calm but firm. "No, we fight to the last ship. We will not let Earth claim victory so easily." But the damage was clear. The human strike had shattered the coalition's front lines. The Imperator itself took a direct hit from a railgun blast that tore through its main power core. Lights flickered and systems failed. In those final moments, Vrax faced the truth. The humans had changed the game. Their railguns were not just weapons, they were symbols of hope and strength, forged by a species that refused to be defeated. As the Imperator began to fall, surviving alien ships fled into the darkness, battered and broken. The humans held the field, victorious but wary. They knew this victory was only the start. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had sent a message. Earth was not to be underestimated. Their railguns had torn through the mightiest armor, and their warriors had fought with unbreakable spirit. The stars would never be the same. The silence that followed the final battle was thick with meaning. The alien fleet, once proud and confident, now limped away into the shadows of deep space. Their ships were battered, their morale shattered. The Imperator, their mighty flagship, was lost, an enduring symbol of the cost of underestimating humanity. Yet in the quiet aftermath, a new chapter was quietly beginning. On Earth, celebrations were subdued but heartfelt. The news of victory spread quickly across every continent, every city, and small town. People looked up at the stars with a mixture of pride and caution. Humanity had survived the greatest threat it had ever faced. It had fought back with a weapon born not just of science, but of the unyielding human spirit. The railguns had proven their power, tearing through the galaxy's mightiest armor and rewriting the rules of war in the halls of galactic diplomacy. Alien leaders convened, their faces marked by defeat and respect. The Galactic Coalition was no longer the unchallenged power it had been. A new force had risen, unpredictable and fierce Earth. Delegations were sent to initiate peace talks, wary but knowing they could not afford another war like this one. Commander Vrax, once the voice of alien arrogance, now carried the weight of humility. During the tense negotiations aboard a neutral space station, he spoke quietly with human representatives. "We misjudged you," he admitted. "Your strength is more than your weapons. It is your will. The galaxy must change how it sees Earth."
Human
leaders listened carefully. They knew this was not the end of conflict, only a new beginning. "We fight to protect our homes," said General Marcus Steele. "But we offer peace to those who respect that." Beyond politics, scientists continued to advance railgun technology, knowing the galaxy was watching. The war had sparked an arms race unlike any before. Humans worked tirelessly, not just to defend Earth, but to stand as a beacon of power and resilience. In quiet moments, Captain Rachel Hayes reflected on the journey from the first strike to this fragile peace. The faces of her crew, the roar of railguns, the sacrifice of those lost all, marked the beginning of a new era. "We showed the galaxy who we are," she said softly. "Strong, unyielding, ready." The stars, once dark and unknowable, now held a new promise on, a new warning. Humanity had arrived, not as victims, but as conquerors of the impossible. Their railguns had torn through armor like paper, but it was their spirit that truly shattered the silence of the cosmos. The galaxy had been changed forever. Earth would never be the same.